Hello friends, welcome to the program. The topic chosen for the program is Role of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR) in Higher Education. The objectives set for the lecture are to know about the historical background of CSIR, to know about the organizational setup of CSIR, and lastly, to know about the role played by CSIR in higher education. Dear students, India has one of the largest higher education systems in the world. The growth rate of educational institutions in India was slow before independence in 1947, but now it has a large higher education sector, the third largest in the world in students' numbers after China and the United States. The main governing body in India at the higher education level is the University Grants Commission, which enforces its standards, advises the government, and helps coordinate between the center and the state. All universities come under the jurisdiction of University Grants Commission. Research in universities and scientific institutions are funded by the University Grants Commission and the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR), as well as other premier institutions like BARC, TIFR, NPL, ISS, Directorate of Science and Technology, DRDO, IITs, IIMs, etc. in India. The Council of Scientific and Industrial Research (CSIR) is the premier industrial research and development organization in India. It was constituted in 1942 by a resolution of the then Central Legislative Assembly. It was established as an autonomous body by the Government of India in 1942 to promote scientific knowledge and boost industrialization and economic growth, and is now one of the largest publicly funded R&D organizations in the world. CSIR headquarters are in New Delhi. Although CSIR is mainly funded by the Ministry of Science and Technology, it operates as an autonomous body registered under the Registration of Societies Act of 1860. Today, CSIR emerges as India's largest research and development organization with 38 laboratories and 39 field stations or extension centers spread across the nation with a collective staff of over 17,000. These laboratories and field stations not only knit India into a giant network that impacts and adds quality to life of each and every Indian, but CSIR is also party to the prestigious Global Research Alliance with the objective of applying global knowledge pool for global good through global funding. Prominent laboratories include the Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology, Hyderabad, the Central Electronic Engineering Research Institute, Pilani, the Central Institute of Mining and Fuel Research, Dhanbad, the National Aerospace Laboratories, Bengaluru, the National Institute of Oceanography, Goa, and the National Botanical Research Institute, Lucknow. The research and development activities of CSIR includes various fields such as aerospace engineering, structural engineering, ocean sciences, life sciences, metallurgy, chemicals, mining, food, petroleum, leather, and environment. Dear students, let's have a look over the historical background of CSIR. In 1930s, the need for establishing research organization for the development of natural resources and new industries in India began to emerge. Eminent citizens such as C.V. Raman, Lieutenant Colonel Samir Civil, and J.C. Ghosh, had proposed the creation of an advisory board of scientific research. Sir Richard Gregory, then editor of Nature, was among the first people who officially reported to the British government. After visiting scientific departments and universities in India in 1933, Gregory submitted to Samuel Hoare, Secretary of State for India, regarding the need of scientific organization similar to the DSIR in Britain. Indian scientists at Calcutta and Bangalore initiated schemes to launch a National Institute of Sciences and an Indian Academy of Sciences, respectively. At the 5th Industries Conference in 1933, the provincial governments of Bombay, Madras, Bihar and Orissa unanimously reiterated their demands for a coordinating forum of industrial research. Hoare advised the Viceroy, Lord Wellington, to support the demand. However, in May 1934, Wellington replied Hoare, saying, quote, "The creation of the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research in India to promote the application of research to natural resources does not appear to be necessary." Unquote. The Indian DSIR was rejected. However, the colonial government provided a small concession. It instead offered to create an Industrial Intelligence and Research Bureau, which came into operation in April 1935 under the Indian Stores Department. At the onset of World War II in 1939, the Bureau was proposed to be abolished. Arguably, Ramaswamy Mudaliar became the most instrumental in the creation of CSIR in India. As a member of Viceroy's Executive Council and also of Commerce, he recommended that the Bureau should be terminated, not as a measure of economy, but to make room for a board of scientific and industrial research. It was by his persistence that the Board of Scientific and Industrial Research, BSIR, was created on April 1st, 1940 for a period of 2 years. Mudaliar became the chair of the board. It was at this point that Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar was appointed to pilot the board as the director. In early 1941, Bhatnagar persuaded the government to set up an Industrial Research Utilization Committee, IRUC, for translating results into application. Then the constitution of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, as an autonomous body was prepared under Mudaliar and Bhatnagar. The CSIR came into operation on September 28, 1942. The objectives of CSIR. The strategic roadmap designed for CSIR as it stepped into new millennium envisaged. First, re-engineering the organizational structure. Then, linking research to marketplace. Next, mobilizing and optimizing the resource base. Then, creating and enabling infrastructure. Then, investing in high quality science. That will be the harbinger of future technologies. Now, dear students, let's have a look over the structure and organization of CSIR. First, the Council. The Statutory Governing Council is made up of a chairman and 21 members. These include representatives of selected ministries, the universities, various production and commercial associations, Ghana Academy of Art and Sciences, National Development Planning Commission, CSIR directors, senior staff of CSIR, among others. The CSIR Act requires that 40% of the membership of the Council be drawn from the private sector. The executive head of CSIR is the Director General. The Director General is assisted by the Deputy Director General and 4 corporate directors, namely Director of Administration and Secretary to Council. Next, Director of Finance, then Commercial Director and Director of Internal Audit. Apart from these, a legal officer looks after the legal and quasi-legal matters. Let's have a look over the function that these people perform. First, the Director General. The Director General is the Chief Executive of CSIR. Functions of Director General include policy issues, coordination, monitoring and evaluation, external relations including technical aid scheme and technical agreement and CSIR relations. Then Deputy Director General. The Deputy Director General is responsible to the Director General for overseeing the development and execution of research and development activities of the 13 institutions of CSIR, as well as the Council's programs and projects. Then Director of Administration. The Director of Administration is responsible to the Director General for oversight, day-to-day administration of the head office, including authorization of administration of administrative expenditures, remuneration management, human resource management of CSIR, communication of the policies to the institutes, and monitoring policy implementations. Director of Finance. Director of Finance is to advise the Director General on all matters relating to finance and accounting, advice on the preparation and submission of annual personal emoluments, administrative service and development estimates and balance sheets of the Council. Then, Director of Commercialization. The Director of Commercialization is to advise the Director General on all issues relating to commercialization, operations of commercialization, and information division of the Institute in terms of strategy development and implementations. He also oversees marketing orientation and training program, supervises the activities of marketing officers, public relations officers, provision of pricing and costing information, and corporate image building. Then, Director of Audit. The Director of Audit is to establish policies for auditing activity and direct technical and administrative functions, develop and execute comprehensive audit programs to evaluate internal control over all the Institute's activities, coordinates audit planning and other internal audit activities, and liaises with the Council's external auditors. Then the Legal Officer. The Legal Officer is responsible to the Director General for all legal and quasi-legal matters relating to the rights and obligations of the Council, advise the directors of the Council on all legal and quasi-legal matters in respect of rights, obligations, and on matters relating to labor disputes and discipline, revising existing rules and regulations, drafting contracts, writing of legal opinions for the Director General and directors of various institutes, advising on patent laws, handling court cases on behalf of the Council before the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and liaising with the Council's external solicitors. Dear students, let's have a look over the role played by CSIR in higher education. The CSIR is mandated to perform certain functions. Some of these functions include to advise on the formulation of research and development programs and future directions of activities of the laboratory, keeping in view the 5-year plans, national priorities and opportunity areas. Next is to suggest networking with other CSIR national laboratories on programs of mutual interest. Then, to review research and development activities and research programs and advise on future directions. To advise on fostering a linkage between the laboratories, industry and potential clients. Next is to pursue the implementations of government policies on scientific research and development. To advise the sector minister on scientific and technological advance likely to be of importance to national development. Next, to encourage coordinated employment of scientific research for management, utilization and conservation of the natural resources of Ghana in the interest of development. Then, to encourage the national interest scientific and industrial research of importance for development of agriculture, health, environment, technology and other service sectors, and to this end to encourage close linkage with the productive sectors of economy. To institute a system of contract research to ensure that research being carried out in the Council is relevant and cost effective. To undertake or collaborate in the publication and dissemination of the results to research and other useful technical information. To organize and control services and facilities available to the Council and generally to manage the properties of the Council. Next, to coordinate human resource development in institutes of the Council and encourage the training of scientific personnel and research workers through the provision of grants and fellowships. CSIR has also formed a consortium with National Institute of Science, Communication and Information Resources NISCAIR as the nodal agency. To augment CSIR research and development activities, National Institute of Science, Communication and Information Resources implemented an agency for access to electronic journals. On behalf of CSIR, it has entered into an agreement with Elsewhere to access its 1500 e-journals and intend to subscribe to more. CSIR Consortium has extended its access to other providers of e-journals. The Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar prizes are awarded annually by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research for notable and outstanding research, applied or fundamental. The prize comprises a citation, a plaque and a cash award of ₹5 lakh. In addition, recipient also gets ₹15,000 per month up to the age of 65 years. And lastly, CSIR has operationalized desired mechanism to boost entrepreneurship, which could lead to enhanced creation and commercialization of radical and disruptive innovations underpinning the development of economic sector. Dear students, we may conclude that the unique mix of multidisciplinary expertise, sound technical knowledge and the talent for innovation that characterize CSIR has enabled it to emerge as a global player. As we all know that technological advancement holds the key to India's economic and social renaissance. The focus of technological development efforts in CSIR would be on those activities that yield appropriate advantage for the nation. This would be achieved by directing its research and development activities that lead to technology development for economic growth and for human welfare. India is blessed with vast natural resources, rich biodiversity, and abundant manpower. CSIR endeavor for promoting economic growth for which these resources need to be gainfully utilized. Better diffusion of technological knowledge and closer partnership between research, community, industry, financial institutions and government are needed to improve India's competitive position. Indeed, CSIR needs to partner Indian industry to support its efforts to compete successfully in the global settings and prepare for and adapt to the unprecedented global changes. It is essential that the interaction and relation between CSIR and industry be a symbiotic partnership where the core competence of both will enforce each other. Dear students, I hope you have understood the content. I hope you enjoyed the lecture. Thanks for watching.